The Varith plague had consumed civilizations like wildfire through dry grass. Across 1,000 worlds, entire species had been reduced to dust and haunting silence. The galactic community watched in horror as their most advanced medical technologies, their genetic manipulations, their quantum healing matrices, all of it failed against the microscopic terror that rewrote DNA itself. Commander Ma'aya stood on the observation deck of the UES Defiance, her dark eyes fixed on the dying world below. Zephron 7 had been a thriving colony just 6 weeks ago. Now its cities were graveyards. Its streets empty, except for the wind that carried ash from mass cremations. "Another one gone," she whispered. Beside her, Dr. Ferret adjusted his tablet, his jaw clenched as streams of data cascaded across the screen. "That makes 1,014 worlds. The Varath plague has a 99.7% mortality rate across every species it encounters. The Zulkari, the Morphians, the Crystalline Collective, all of them fell within days of first contact." Ma'aya turned to face him. "And Earth?" Ferret's expression was grim. "The Galactic Council has issued a formal warning. They're calling us the last domino. They say our immune systems are primitive compared to theirs. If the plague reaches Earth—" He didn't finish the sentence. "When?" Maya corrected. "The question is when, not if." 3 days later, the when became now. The refugee ship Sanctuary's Hope emerged from FTL space near Earth's moon, broadcasting distress signals on all frequencies. They were Kelvorians, one of humanity's first alien allies, and they were dying. Against every quarantine protocol, against every rational argument, the decision was made. "We don't abandon our friends," the Secretary General had declared. Ma'aya led the rescue team personally, her hazmat suit feeling inadequate against an enemy that had toppled empires. As they moved through the Kelvorian ship, the devastation was absolute. Bodies lined the corridors, their bioluminescent skin dimmed to gray. In the medical bay, they found the last survivors, including the ship's doctor, who pressed a data chip into Maya's gloved hand with his last breath. "Study us," he rasped. "Learn from our failure." 72 hours after the rescue, the first human contracted the Varath plague. Dr. Sarah Chen, 34 years old, xenobiologist, mother of 2. The news spread like the plague itself, and panic threatened to tear civilization apart. Maya watched the reports from the CDC headquarters in Atlanta, where Ferret had set up his research station. Every screen showed the same grim progression: cellular breakdown, DNA corruption, systemic failure. But then, something unexpected happened. Sarah Chen didn't die on day 3 like the projections predicted. On day 4, her fever broke. On day 5, she sat up and asked for coffee. On day 6, she was arguing with her doctors about being discharged. "It's impossible," Ferret muttered, running the analysis for the 100th time. "The plague rewrites DNA. It should have destroyed her cellular structure completely." Maya leaned over his shoulder, studying the microscopic imagery. "But it didn't." "What happened?" Ferret's fingers flew across his keyboard, pulling up comparative data. "Her immune system." "God, Maya, look at this." Her immune system didn't just fight the plague, it adapted mid-infection. White blood cells mutated in real time. T cells developed new receptor proteins. Her antibodies learned to recognize and neutralize the plague vectors within hours. That's not possible. For any other species in the galaxy, no. But humans. Ferret pulled up a historical database. "We evolved on a death world. Maya, for millions of years, we survived plagues, parasites, viruses, bacteria, everything Earth could throw at us. The Black Death, Spanish flu, COVID-19, the hemorrhagic wars of 2067. Every generation. We survived what should have killed us." Maya's eyes widened as understanding dawned. "Our immune systems aren't primitive, they're battle-hardened. Over the next 2 weeks, 17 more humans contracted the Varith plague. 16 survived. The one fatality was an elderly man with a severely compromised immune system, but even he lasted 9 days, 3 times longer than any other species in recorded history. The data was undeniable. Humanity's immune system, forged in the crucible of Earth's relentless biological warfare, possessed something no other species had: adaptability born from necessity, resilience coded into every cell, from eons of survival against impossible odds. Ferret worked without sleep, isolating the antibodies, mapping the immune response patterns. Maya coordinated with military precision, turning Earth into a medical research fortress. Within a month, they had developed a treatment protocol based on human immune markers. The first test subject was a Kelvorian child named Saren, dying in a quarantine facility on Mars. They transfused human antibodies, introduced synthesized human T-cell analogs, and prayed to whatever gods were listening. Saren survived. The news rippled across the galaxy like a shockwave in reverse, not destruction, but hope. The humans, the primitives, the newcomers who had barely scratched the surface of galactic civilization, had done what 1,000 advanced species could not. 6 months later, Maya stood in the same observation deck. But this time she was looking at Zephron 7's sister colony, Zephron 9, where recovery efforts were in full swing. Hundreds of ships moved in coordinated patterns, delivering human-derived treatments to worlds across the galaxy. Ferret joined her, 2 cups of coffee in hand. He looked exhausted but satisfied. "The Galactic Council is calling it the human solution," he said, offering her a cup. "They want to establish a permanent research partnership. Apparently, our primitive immune systems are now the most valuable biological resource in known space." Maya smiled, taking a sip. "Because we spent millions of years learning to survive on a planet that was actively trying to kill us." "Earth," Ferret agreed, raising his cup in a toast. "The death world that taught humanity to be unkillable." They stood in comfortable silence, watching the stars. The Varith plague had claimed 1,000 worlds, toppled empires, and brought the galaxy to its knees. Then it met humanity's immune system, and learned that some species don't just survive, they adapt, overcome, and emerge stronger. Because when your home planet is a biological war zone, your body becomes a fortress, and your immune system becomes an army that never surrenders. The plague had met its match. Humanity, as always, endured. The end.